morning, welcome to my legs, bums and tums Pilates inspired session. So we're going to bring our feet together. We're going to go heels out, toes come out to meet them, and then we're just going to take our weight in a circle. So just gently moving your weight from your heel around the side of your foot to your toes and back again. And then taking it in the other direction. And bring that to a standstill where that weight is evenly balanced between your heel and your toe. Coming up those knees, making sure they stay soft, and coming up that pelvis, taking a little rock backwards and forwards, just gently seeing how it wants to move today. And then bring that to a standstill where that tailbone's pointing down to the ground, re-stacking those vertebrae, growing towards the ceiling. Thinking about our pelvic floor, core and breathing next. So your pelvis has two sit bones and a pubic bone and tailbone. And I want you to think about, as you breathe out, your sit bones moving close together and your pubic bone and tailbone moving close together as you draw up that pelvic floor. And then as you inhale, your diaphragm, respiratory diaphragm, moves down into that abdominal space. So you can kind of let off that core and pelvic floor, because that pelvic diaphragm moves down too. And then as you exhale, they're going to come back up together. So they kind of work as a team around that TVA, transverse abdominal cylinder, in the middle. So we're going to inhale. Release your core and pelvic floor, bring those arms up. And then as you exhale, you feel your core tighten as those pelvic floor muscles also can lift up. We're going to do 4 more of those. So we're inhaling up. And exhaling down. And inhaling up. And exhaling down. And final 2. And final time. Okay. From here, we're going to bring our right ear to our right shoulder. Gentle semicircle round to the left. And then back to the right. So keeping that movement nice and fluid. Not trying to rush or make your head go further towards your shoulder than it wants to. Just taking it on the plane of movement that feels comfortable. And then bring that head over to the right hand side. Right hand comes up and onto your head. So you're just taking a gentle stretch through your neck. You're not pulling on your head, it's just a gentle hold. And then bring your head back up. Taking your left ear to your left shoulder, bringing your right hand up, gently placing it on top of your head, holding it there. And then gently bring your head back up, taking your chin to 2 o'clock. Nodding your head forward, placing your hand on your head, gently holding it there. So just a really gentle stretch across the back of that neck. Again, you're not pulling on your head. taking your chin to 10 o'clock, nodding your head forward, placing your hand again gently on your head, holding it there. And then gently bring your head back up. Okay. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go onto our shoulders. So we're going to take 3 shoulder rolls backwards. And 3 shoulder rolls forwards. 3 elbow rolls backwards. And 3 elbow rolls forwards. Then we're going to interlace those fingers, bring your arms above your head. Check in with that rib to hip connection, so make sure you haven't let those ribs flare forward, and then we're just going to create a circle above our heads. So you're just mobilising through that upper body, just building some warmth there, releasing any tension that you might be holding in those shoulders. And taking it in the other direction. And then we're going to start to make that a bit bigger. So we're going to bring our upper body into the move. So just keeping your upper body moving, keeping your lower body still. And then taking it in the other direction. And making this your final one. And then stretching those arms up and away. I think I was a bit over ambitious with the window. It's kind of warm, but it's a little bit cold too. Go for the little window. So keeping your feet underneath you. Now we're going to look at side flexion and extension. So we're going to reach to the right hand side, pick up that imaginary tennis ball. We're going to stretch the arm up and over. Squeeze your obliques. Come back to the top. Gently down, up and over. Squeeze those obliques. Come back to the top. Keeping your shoulders in alignment. So make sure you're not rounding your shoulder, bringing your arm forward of your ear. So your elbow comes up and over your ear, not in front of your face. Keeping hold of that rib to hip connection, so keeping your ribs in line with your hips. And we're going to do one more to each side like this. Final one here. And then this time we're going to add on a little hold. So we're going to go down, up and over. Bring the other arm up to meet it. Back to the middle. And then let it go. We're going to go down, up and over. Other arm comes up to meet it. Back to the middle. And then let it go. Keeping that movement again on your side plane. So make sure you're not letting those arms come in front of you. You're keeping that movement to the side as you come up and over. Grabbing that big beach ball and then letting it go. We're going to go one more to each side. See if you can reach a little bit lower every time. And then stretch those arms up and away. Okay, From here, just give those shoulders a little wiggle. We're going to go onto our lower half. So we're going to start with our feet. So all we're going to do is start with a really simple little foot stretch, and then we're going to gently warm up those legs as we work our way back to our hips. So we're going to just lift your toes and then lift your foot. Foot down, toes up, foot down, toes down. So just a gentle move, just getting some work into those feet. We don't spend enough time trying to work our feet because they spend so much time in shoes, so it's good just to get some movement into those ligaments. Okay, then I have a bit of a challenge for you. Making this your final one on each foot. Okay, then bringing those feet back down. I want you to see if you can just lift a big toe and lower. Lift a big toe and lower. If you need to just have a little peek down, if that helps, that's okay. Try to keep the rest of you in alignment, but I find I need to just have a little look and then it works. That one didn't want to work then. Lift a big toe, lift a big toe. Now can you keep your big toes on the floor and just lift the rest of your toes? Just about. So you have to let me know how you're getting on with this little challenge, just trying to get you to get those pathways between your toes and your feet working. One more on each side. And then you can just leave those toes on the ground, and we're just going to roll through that foot and bring it back down. Roll through that foot and bring it back down. Rolling through those feet. Trying to keep your weight balanced, so try not to sway too much from side to side. Obviously there's going to be a bit of sideways movement, but try not to really kind of rock. Try and keep your weight as centered as you can. Core still working. Thinking about exhaling, zipping up that pelvic floor, inhaling, releasing that pelvic floor. I'm going to do one more here. So warming up through those ankles and knees. Okay, then bringing those feet back down. We're going to go onto our hips now. So we're going to start to warm up through those hips. So we're going to go back to a little pelvic tilt, and I want you to really focus on it coming from your pelvis and make sure you're not kind of like leaning your body forward and backwards. So keeping your spine extended, you're just going to tuck that pelvis underneath you. Feel yourself just tucking that tailbone almost like between your legs, and then you're just going to rock it backwards, trying to keep yourself really still. Try not to let anything else move. And then what I want you to see if you can do is if you can take that pelvis from side to side. So you're just going to try and lift your right hip up, stick it out to the right a little bit, and then you're going to just see if you can roll it to the other side. So just rolling from one side to the other. You can bend your knees to help you with the movement, but I want you to try and keep everything else nice and still. So try not to kind of like rock your whole body to the side. Just try and get it through that hip, that nice stretch through the side of your leg. Okay, one more to each side. And then coming back to the middle. And then from here we're going to see if we can just take that pelvis around the clock. So you're going to tuck your tailbone under as if you're trying to point it to 12 o'clock. Trying to lean your body backwards. Remember, keep nice and tall. And then we're going to bring it back to the centre. Then you're going to see if you can tilt your pelvis slightly to 1 o'clock. And then back to the centre. Then we're going to go to 2 o'clock. Back to the centre, core engaged. Then we're going to go to 3 o'clock, so you're just stretching out through that right hip. Back to the centre. Now we're going to bring that tailbone up, so tilt your pelvis backwards. So we're going to go up to 4 o'clock. Back to the centre and to 5 o'clock. Back to the centre and to 6 o'clock. So just pushing that tailbone towards the sky. Try not to lean your body forward. Think about that movement still coming through just that pelvis. back to the centre. Then we're going to go to 7 o'clock, so left side, and to 8 o'clock. Then we're going to 9 o'clock, so just sticking that left hip out. Back to the centre, core engaged, back to the front. We're going 10, back to the centre, and 11. Tucking that tailbone under again, and then we're back to 12, so just tilt, and then back. And then you can give those knees a little wiggle, okay? Should feel nice and warm now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start with a little lunge series. So you need a little bit of room in front of you to move. Feet are coming underneath you, standing nice and tall. We're going to take a big step forward. Bring those back heel off the floor, toes stay stuck to the floor. Check the alignment of your legs, so make sure your legs are in line with your hips. You're going to just bring yourself down into kind of like a comfortable position, but where you can feel your legs are working. From here, we're going to do 5 little pulses. So we're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring yourself back to your kind of comfortable position. We're going to call that position home. And then we're going to bring our arms up. We're going to stretch one back, come back to the middle, stretch the other side back, come back to the middle. Then we're going to go back into our pulses. So we're going to do 5 little pulses. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, arms come up, stretch one back, and back to the middle, stretch the other one back, and back to the middle. Bring those hands in, 5 little pulses. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and then holding your home position. So if you can push your back heel down into the floor, just take that calf stretch, hold it there. Then bring yourself back up to standing. Going to step back with the leg that was just forward. So we're now in our lunge on the other side. Again, check the alignment of your legs. Keep your body tall. And we're going to do 5 little pulses. 2, 1. Bring those arms up. Stretch one back. Back to the centre, stretch the other back, and back to the centre. 5 little pulses. 3, 2, 1. Arms come up, stretch one back, keep your body nice and tall, and stretch the other back to the centre, and final set. 5, 3, 2, 1. Push that back heel into the floor, hold it there. Then pushing yourself back up to standing. Excellent. Give those legs a little wiggle if they need it. Next, we're going to do a little set of squats, and we're going to hold our squats. So we're going to start at a 20-second hold, work all our way down to a 5-second hold, and then we're going to work our way all the way back. Now, at any point, if you need to, you can just come out of it and then either rejoin us or just skip the rest of that one and rejoin the next kind of time bracket, if you like. We're going to keep this as a narrow squat, so your feet are underneath you, toes are pointing forward, core switched on. We're going to take our weight backwards, come back as if you're about to sit into a chair. You could always have a chair behind you, and then if you do get tired, you can just take a little rest Just don't sit on the chair for 20 seconds and then stand up, that's cheating. Core on, shoulder blades away from your ears, and we're holding it here for 20 seconds. Here we go. Ten seconds to go. And then pushing through your whole foot, bring yourself back to standing. So that was our 20 seconds. We've got 15 seconds to go now. When you're down there, just check that the weight is evenly balanced between your heel and your toe, and you're not kind of like sitting everything back into those heels. Keep some pressure on those toes, keep that weight even. So we're coming down into that chair, core on, hold it here, shoulder blades away, 15 seconds. And then gently pushing yourself back up. Well done. 2 more to go on this side, and then we'll be climbing back up the other side of our pyramid. Down we go. Hold. Remember, you're in control of how hard you work. And then gently back up. One more time. 5 seconds, and then we start climbing again. And then back up. So 5 seconds, and then we're going back to 20. Here we go. Down and hold. And gently back up. 10 seconds to come. Core on. Shoulder blades away from your ears. Take your bum backwards. And then gently back up. 2 longest to go. You're doing really well. Take that pelvis back. Keep some weight in those toes. Come back up. Final time. 20 seconds. Two, 1, and back to standing. Well done. Give those legs a little wiggle. Okay, going to do a nice standing quad stretch. So I suggest you hold on to something, but you don't have to. If you don't want to, it just means you don't have to worry about the balance. Left foot is coming up, and then keeping your body tall. Try not to lean your body forward. You're just going to take that knee back. Hold it there. And then gently bring that foot down, swapping to your other side, bring that right foot up, and then gently take that foot back, hold it there. And then bring that foot back down, give those ankles a little walk out, and we're going to roll to our mat next. So you're bringing your feet underneath you, keeping a nice soft knee, standing tall. Going to inhale here, exhale, gently tucking your chin, leading with the crown of your head. Bring yourself slowly to the floor, bending those knees and coming down to the mat. Okay, going to do a core exercise next, which is also really good for your shoulders. So we're going to build a little bit of upper body strength here as well. So we're going to do our leg pull prone series. So we're going to be on our wrists. If your wrists aren't a big fan of being leant on, you can either create a fist, or you could try this on your elbow as well if your wrists are really not overly happy at being leant on. The other thing you can do is roll up a little towel. Sometimes that change of angle can help those wrists out. So wrists to the floor. Your wrists are just slightly wider than your shoulders. Going to start off in our box position, then you're going to tuck your toes and bring yourself up. So you're into kind of like this high plank. Careful what you've done with your shoulders and your pelvis, so don't stick your bum up to the air. Then keeping everything else in line, you're going to lift a leg and do 2 little pulses. Lower. Lift the other leg, 2 little pulses. Lower. Lift and pulse. Lift and pulse. Everything else stays nice and still. You should feel that really working those core muscles. Keep them switched on. And then you're going to gently bend 1 and 2 knees, just come off those wrists for a moment. Bring your fingertips together and then push them out to our jellyfish stretch. We're going to do another set, just giving you a little wrist break in between sets. Okay, ready for our next set. So we are coming. Hands to the floor. Spread those fingers out. That can also help those wrists. Core on. Tuck those toes. Coming up. Making sure your pelvis isn't sticking up into the air. Feet are roughly hip distance apart. Lift and pulse. 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 1 more on each side. And then gently lowering those knees back down. Take your knees wide, bring yourself back into your child's pose. Just have a little rest here for me. And then coming back up to sitting. So next we are going to do our book and clam series. So book is a really nice exercise for opening up those chest muscles. Lovely rotation and mobility exercise for our spine. And then clam is a super glute workout, working all around that hip joint. If you want to use a resistance band for your clam, you're very welcome to. You don't have to if you don't want to, but if you are, going to bring our heels and our knees together, and then we're going to just tie the band about a hand's width away from the knee. So make sure it's not too close to that knee joint. Tie it as tight as you want, but tie it in a bow, don't tie it in a knot. Or you could use a loop band if you have one. So we're going to tie our band in a bow if you're using one. Need to make sure that your head is in alignment. So when you come down onto the mat, your hip and your shoulder are staying in a line, and then your head should be in line with the rest of your spine. So your head shouldn't be down like this, or you should have something so big underneath it that it's kind of like bringing it up into the air. It needs to stay so it's in a line with the rest of your spine, so you're keeping really nice alignment of that spine. Core switched on, so think about pulling your ribs towards your hips, belly button to spine, little gap remains under that low side of your body. Then from here, keeping your feet, your knees bent so that you're kind of like sitting in a chair almost, going to lift that top arm to parallel with the bottom arm, so shoulder height. We're going to inhale, remember, release that pelvic floor, stretch that arm forward. Exhale, bring that pelvic floor back on and just gently rotate through that mid-spine as you bring that arm back behind you. When you get to the back, check in with your hip, make sure your hip hasn't rolled backwards. If you think about gluing your knees together, that will help. Hold for an inhale, and then exhale. Gently, with control, bringing that arm back down to the ground. Inhaling, start stretching that arm forward. Exhale, core and pelvic floor reaching up into the ceiling. Once your arm is in line with your shoulder, you're just rotating backwards through that mid-spine. So feel like your breastbone is coming up to point to the sky. Exhale. Gently bringing that arm back down, fighting gravity as you bring that arm back down. So make sure you're just not kind of like lumping it back to the floor. Okay, here we go. And again, stretching that arm forward. Exhale. Up and over, rotating through that mid-spine. Hold. Really slow and control the movement on the way down. So you're really fighting gravity. You can feel that pressure on your arm wanting to drop to the floor. Okay, 4 to go. Holding at the back, inhale. Release that pelvic floor, then exhale. Pelvic floor comes back on. So those two diaphragms move together and you're just really controlling movement, getting the breathing and movement to come together. And again, final 3. Inhale, stretching forward. Exhale, reaching. Keep some energy through those fingers as you bring that arm back behind you. Really slow and controlled back to your starting position. Final 2. Inhale, stretch forward. Make sure your hips stay stacked, your knees stay glued together. That's a really good way of making sure your hips can't roll around. And final 1. Really stretching through those fingertips. You can make that arm longer as you reach up and over. This gentle return to your starting position. And then you can just move your arms to somewhere where they're comfortable. Make sure the rest of your body stays where it is. With your legs, you have an option here. So if you want to make it slightly more challenging, you can just move your knees back a bit so that your legs are a little bit more extended, but you don't have to. You can stay in that kind of 90-degree angle if you want to. Going to take your hand, find your hip bone, then about 1 inch or 2 down from your hip bone, and then just back a bit. You can find it's like an indent on the side of your bum. If you put your hand there and then squeeze your heels together, you'll feel that muscle engage. I want you to hold that engagement. Inhale. Exhale. Core and pelvic floor. Lift that top leg up. Keep squeezing those heels for me. Inhale. And then exhale. Gently bringing that knee back down. Hold at the bottom. Inhale. Keep squeezing those heels as you exhale and lift that knee up. Careful that hip doesn't roll backwards. Keep that pressure on those heels. Exhale. And inhaling at the bottom. And exhale. Holding at the top for an inhale. Remember, release that pelvic floor. And exhale. Gently bringing that knee back down. So don't kind of just let that knee fall back down. Make sure that there's some resistance there. Almost like there's a band pulling it up to the ceiling, like the band that's stopping it moving to the ceiling in the first place. So squeezing those heels. Inhale. Exhale. Hold it there. And we have 3 more to go. And final 2. And final time. Holding at the top. Feeling that work in those glutes. Okay. Well done. Swapping to our other side. So we're coming to lay on our right hand side now. Again, thinking about your setup first. So your hip and shoulder are staying in alignment. Head stays in line with the rest of your spine. Feet are, for now, either at that 90-degree angle, or knees are at that 90-degree angle, or you can move those legs a little bit further back if you want to. It's entirely up to you. Keep that chin lifted. Make sure you're not looking down at your legs. Core on. Little gap remains under that low side. Top hand comes so it's in line with the bottom hand. We're going to inhale, stretch that arm forward. Exhale, core and pelvic floor. Reach that arm up into the air. Once it's in line with your shoulder, you're going to rotate through that mid-spine. Bring that arm back behind you. Hold it there. Fighting gravity, bring that arm gently back to the mat. And then again, we're going to inhale, stretch forward, exhale. Really reaching through that hand, try and make that arm longer. When you're at the back, make sure that that rotation is coming through your mid-spine. So you've moved your sternum, your breastbone, to point kind of more towards the ceiling than straight out in front of you. So you're not just moving through that shoulder joint. Inhale, stretching forward. Exhale, reaching up, 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 up. Holding it back. Really fighting gravity as you bring that arm gently back down. Don't let it just kind of like fall towards the ground. Really control that speed. And again, inhale, stretching that arm forward. Make sure your hips aren't rolling forward. Keep those knees glued together. Okay, 4 to go. Every time you exhale, think pelvic floor. Bring those sit bones closer together, that pubic bone and tailbone closer together. When you get to the back, inhale. Release off that pelvic floor and then exhale. Gently bring that arm back down. This is one of those moves that makes me feel so relaxed, feel proper chilled. 3 to go. Really stretching through that shoulder, bringing that arm forward. Don't let your body roll forward. Keep those hips stacked. Inhale. Exhale. Gently bringing that arm back over, keeping that movement nice and controlled. That's it, looking good. Final 2 here. Really stretching through those fingers, try and make that arm longer. And final time. And then bringing those arms into somewhere where they are comfortable. Check on your setup again, so make sure you haven't moved your hips forward or your shoulder forward at all. And then we're going on to our clown. So finding your hip about 2 inches down, hand back a bit, you can feel that indentation. Squeeze those heels together, you can feel that muscle engaging. Inhale here. Exhale. Lifting that knee. Keep those heels squeezed together, keep those hips stacked one on top of the other. Holding that leg at the top, so you're really working into those glutes. Thinking pelvic floor release on your inhale. Exhale, pelvic floor and core switching back on. Keep those heels squeezing together. Holding at the top. Okay, 4 more to go. Doing really well. Keep squeezing those heels. Holding at the top. Don't let that hip roll back. Final 2. Really holding that knee up, pushing into that band. And your final time here. And then gently exhale, keep those core muscles engaged, bring that leg gently back down. Excellent. Bringing yourself back up to sitting in your own time. Taking the band off those legs. Okay. So band off those legs. We're going to do a little glute stretch before we move on to our next exercise. So we're going to come into our box position. Going to bring your left leg out behind you. Slide it to the right hand side of your body and then just gently guide yourself back. So you're kind of sitting down that right side. You should feel that in your right glute. Holding it here. You can come down a little bit lower if you want to, or you can stay up here. Then tucking those back toes, bring yourself back into your box position. Right leg comes up behind you, right leg slides to the left. Again, guide yourself gently back, holding it there. And tucking those back toes, bring yourself back up into your box position, or out of your box position. We are going to go back into our box position. So we're going to do a little hover. So really good core exercise. Again, as with most Pilates exercises, we're not just kind of like doing one body part or one muscle group. We're kind of working everything. So this is going to include a bit of posterior chain, so working the muscles in the back side of your body. Bit of shoulder work as well, of course, because we're in our 4-point kneeling. So again, coming so that your wrists this time are under your shoulders, so make sure they're not a little bit wider, a bit like they in your leg pull prone they could have been a bit wider. So wrist under your shoulder, knee is now under your hip, tucking your pelvis so your tailbone is pointing away, so you're keeping that spine in neutral. Rib to hip connection, eyes to the mat. Going to tuck those toes under, and then all we're going to do is just take those knees gently off the floor, and we're going to hold it for 20 seconds, and then a bit like with our squats earlier, we're going to go 20, 15, 10, 5, and then we're going to work our way back up again. Like with the squats earlier, if you need to lose one, so if you need to leave one out, you're very welcome to, or if you need to reduce one down, so if the 20 is too much, just do 15 and then have a little 5-second rest before we get to our actual rest as well. So holding this position, tucking those toes under, this is a really good core exercise. Breathing naturally, so don't hold your breath as you're holding your hover. So we're going to take those knees up off the floor, hold it. And gently lowering those knees back down. So you don't have to take your knees up very high. Don't take your pelvis out of alignment. Try and keep your back exactly where it is. Try not to lift your body any higher. It's just a tiny hover. Going for our 15 seconds now. Here we go. Up and hold. And gently lower. 2 more to go, and then we're going to have a little wrist break. Keep your eyes to the floor, up for 10 seconds. Gently lowering those knees back down. So make sure you're not kind of really banging into the floor. Protect that knee joint. Gently, softly bring yourself down to the floor. Imagine you're surrounded by feathers. Don't let any of those feathers move. 5 seconds, and then we can have a little break. Lift and hold. Gently lower. Coming off those wrists, fingertips together. Little jellyfish stretch, just to make those wrists feel a bit easier. And then we're going to go back up the other side of our pyramid. So we're starting at 5, working to 20. Remember, if you need a rest at any point, take it and then just rejoin us when you can. So into your box position, core switch on, core working hard here. Don't hold your breath, tuck your toes. And up for 5, here we go. Gently lower. And into our 10. Keep those shoulders away from your ears. and gently lower. 2 to go. Spread those fingers out if you need to help with those wrists. And up we go. 15 seconds. Gently lowering. 1 to go. Doing really well. We are nearly there. So lifting those knees now. Gently lowering those knees down, opening those knees so they're a little bit wider, feet together, sitting back into your child's pose. Don't take your head to the floor, keep your head in line with the rest of your spine. Just take a little rest here for me. And bring yourself back up to sitting. From here we're going to do a piriformis stretch, so another nice stretch for those legs. So you're going to bring both feet out in front of you, sitting up nice and tall. Going to bring that left leg over your right leg. Going to wrap your right arm around, look towards the left, really hug that knee in so you get a really deep stretch. Keep yourself sitting nice and tall. And bring that leg back down, bring your other leg up and over. So right leg over, left arm wraps, looking towards the right, nice and tall again, hold it there. And then gently bring that leg back down. I'm going to do a nice groin stretch next. So you're going to bring the soles of your feet together, sitting on those sit bones. So find the sit bones, make sure you're not on the fleshy bit because you'll roll backwards. And then you're just going to gently bend yourself forward, push your knees out and just feel that stretch in your groin, maybe a little bit into those glutes as well, holding it there. And then bringing those legs back together. You're going to take your legs out straight again in front of you. Now, if you find sitting up tall like this challenging, you can always pop a Pilates block underneath you. And that can just help to alleviate any hamstring tension you may have. Next exercise, going to use the band, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Just a little calf stretch and strengthen. So the band comes around your toes, around the front part of your foot, so make sure it's not really far to the back. You're in charge of how hard you're working. Careful the band isn't going to ping off your toes. Sitting up nice and tall, so try not to lean away from the band or feel like the band is rounding you and bringing you towards it. Sitting up nice and tall, you can bring that heel off the floor or keep it on the floor. And then from there, just going to push your toes away and then gently release. So keeping the movement nice and fluid, don't let the band ping you at all. Sitting nice and tall. So you could almost sit against a wall if you wanted to, and that would stop you, don't lean on it, but it would stop you leaning your body back, and you would know if you were starting to bend forward. Final 2. final one. And then swapping, so that band is round the front of your other foot again. Check the resistance that you've got there, so you're in control of working. It's the fantastic things about resistance bands. Lifting that heel if you want to, and then here we go. We're halfway there. This is a really nice exercise for your calves. And final two. And final one. Gently lowering that foot to the floor, bringing that band up and off your foot. Going to come into our high knee hip flexor stretch. Now, if your knees aren't a big fan of being knelt on, you can just pop something a little bit softer under that left knee to start with. So if you've got quite a thin mat, like one of these yoga mats, you might find that it's not quite enough support under that knee. Bringing that right foot forward. Tucking those that pelvis underneath you to keep those sit bones sliding down. Going to stretch that leg forward, hold it there. Remember, your knee tracks your toe but never goes over your toe. And then bring those knees back together. Swapping so your cushion is under your other knee if you need it. Big step forward. Tucking that pelvis underneath you, keeping yourself up nice and tall so don't lean your body forward. Pushing forward. Knee tracks your toe but never goes over your toe, remember. Then bringing yourself back to both knees, coming back to sitting however is comfy. So you can sit cross-legged or in diamond, or just have your legs straight out in front of you if that is better for you. Sitting up nice and tall on those sit bones. You're going to bring your hands to the sides. Going to stretch your right hand out along the floor as far as it can without coming off the floor, and then you're just going to reach up. Keep your spine nice and lengthened towards the ceiling. Arm comes up so it's in line with your shoulder, and then we're going to gently bend to the left, holding it here for an inhale. Then exhale, see if you can lengthen to the left a bit more. Reach up into the sky, and then just gently let that arm, again, keep stretching through those fingers to the right. Try and make that arm longer. Bring it gently back to the mat. Then the other side, we're going to go out with that left hand. Stretching that left hand up into the air. Bring it in line with your shoulder. Gentle bend. Hold for an inhale. Exhale. Stretch further to the right, then reaching up into the air. Keep your spine long as your left hand reaches to the left. Back to the floor. Gently bring those fingertips in. And then we're going to leave it there for today. Thank you for joining me for my legs, bums and tums session today. I hope you found it really beneficial. Have a super day. Drink plenty of water. Let me know how you got on with the toes in the comments, and I will see you again very soon. Bye for now.